sounds, whispering, inaudible whispering of Wikipedia page. If mouth sounds and up close isn't your thing, I have other videos on my channel that you might enjoy. Also, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment about what you think, what you want to see, and I hope you enjoy. Let's go. So, this is just gonna be a super cozy video. I'm just sitting in my bed and reading. Today I'm gonna be reading the Japan Wiki page. This is great for me because it's partly research and partly filming a video. Two things I need to do. I'm somewhat planning a trip to Japan, and I need to just read about Japan. I kind of know what I want to do in general, and where I want to stay, but it doesn't hurt to learn some history about the place because obviously the culture is quite old. The country is old, and there's probably just a lot to learn that I have absolutely no idea about. Also, quick side note, I'm sorry if this is like kind of shaking and stuff. My setup is kind of strange right now because I'm in my bed. So, let's just get started. Japan is an island country in East Asia, located in the Pacific Ocean off the northwest coast of the Asian mainland. It's bordered on the west bay of the Sea of Osaka, in the north of the East China Sea, in the south the Japanese archipelago. It consists of 4 major islands: Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, and Shikushu, 1,000 smaller islands covering 377,975 square kilometers. Japan has a population over 123 million as of 2025, making it the world's largest populated country. The capital of Japan, the largest city, is Tokyo. The currently large area of Tokyo is the largest metropolitan area in the world, with more than 27 million inhabitants as of 2024. Japan is divided into administrative prefectures and 8 villages. About 3/4 of the country's terrain concentrated in its agriculture, highly urbanized population along its eastern coastal plains. The country sits in the Pacific Ring of Fire, making the islands prone to destructive earthquakes and tsunamis. It's known. The first known inhabitation of the archipelago dates to with the beginning of the Japanese Batalic dating to 36,000 BC. Between the 4th and 5th centuries, its kingdom were under control an emperor in Nara, and later, from the 12th century, actual shogun, the feudal lord, and enforced by warrior nobility samurai. After the rule of the Kamakotaka, Ashika, shogun, and the century warning states, Japan was unified in 1600 by the Tokugawa shogunate, which implemented an isolationist foreign policy. In 1853, the United States fleet forced Japan to open trade to the west, which led to the end of the music and pop culture history, which includes animation, comics, and video game industry. Etymology. The name for Japan in Japanese is written using Ghaaji and is pronounced Nihon. Before it was adopted in the 8th century, the country was known in China as Wa, and in Japan by the endonym Yamato. The original Jin Japanese postage stamp. Japan was typically used for this reflection of the shift in Japanese phonology during the Edo period. The characters mean sun origin, which is the source of the popular Western epithet, land of the rising sun. The name is based in the languages in early trade. In the 13th century, Marco Polo recorded the early Mandarin Chinese pronunciation of the characters as Jipong. The only Japan borrowed from the wide coastal Chinese dialect and encountered by the Portuguese trader Southeast Asia brought the world Europe. In the early 16th century, the first version of the name in English appears in a book published in 1577, which is about the name of the main article. History of Japan for Chronicle Guide. See timeline Japanese history. Modern humans arrived in Japan around 38,000 years ago, 36,000 BC, marking the beginning of the Japanese Paleolithic. This was followed around by 18,500. The start of Jomon, the period, and the Melagalic, and the Menagalic, and the Bithagalic. Semi-sedentary hunter-gatherer culture characterized by and agriculture. Clay vessels from the period among surviving examples of pottery. The Japanese Kingdom people. They're the archipelago from the Korean peninsula, intermingling with the Jomon in the Yom period, saw the introduction of practices with style of China and Korea. According to legend, Emperor founded a kingdom in central Japan in 660 BC, providing the culture and the primitive Buddhism was in Japan. The Korean kingdom 1552 developed primarily influenced by China. Despite early resistance, Buddhism was promoted by the ruling class, including the Prince Sotuk. Widespread acceptance beginning in the Asuka period. In 645, a government led by Prince Nakanoni and Katamari devised and implemented the far-reaching reform. The reform with the land reform began and ideas with philosophies from China and nationalized all land in Japan to be distributed equally among cultivators and ordered the household registry at the basis of the but there was greater centralization enhanced the power of the imperial court, which was based on the religion, writing, politics, art, region. Bloody conflict between Tama and his nephew Tama became major catalysts for further administration reforms. These reforms central to subordinate local governments. These legal reforms created the and the system of the Chinese centralized government that remained as well as the financial instruments, such as the future contract, the banking, and the at the west of the enclave, the Japanese and Nagasaki, and the period began a rise study of Japan, the Barry resulted in the March 50 treaties with the other Western countries, brought economic, political crisis, and the biased the United States to go. Recognize a critical adopting Western political, judicial, military intuition, and the cabinet organization. The emerged most developed state in Asia, world power that was persecuted by military conflict to expand its sphere of influence. After victories at the First Japanese War, Japan gained control of Taiwan, Korea, and the southern half of and annexed Korea in 19. Japan population doubled with the pronunciation. The 20th century saw the period the democracy overshadowed increasing expansion and militarization. World Japan decided of the victorious allies to capture German possessions in the political. The 1920s saw a political shift towards a state of lawlessness following a period of past laws against political dissent and attempt to coup. The process acceleration during the 1950s, spawning several radicalization national groups shared the hostility to liberal democracy and demanded to expel Japan invaded China. The occupied Mauritius led the establishment of the puppet state. Following international condemnation and the occupation, decided to get in the League of Nations in 1933 and 1936. Japan and the communal back Germany and the one of the Japan and the China invaded the United States, placed with the oil embargo on Japan on December 7th, 1941. Japanese forces carried out surprise attacks on Pearl Harbor as well as forces in Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, among others, beginning the world in the Pacific and the numerous abuses were committed against local inhabitants, with many forced into their allied victories during the next 4 years. The combination of the Soviet march, the bombings of Japan decided to surrender the cost of the Japan millions of including the parts of Japan such as Korea, Taiwan, allies led by the United States reparation millions of Japanese Japanese war crime. 1923, sympathizing the liberal democratic practices, the occupation of the Treaty of San Francisco. 1952, the Japan was granted. In 1956, the record period of growth propelled Japan to become one of the world's. Then in the mid-1990s, after popping the price asset bubble, Japan suffered one of the largest earthquakes in the marketplace, triggering the Fukushima last decade. Japan suffered one of the largest earthquakes in recorded history, the Fukushima on May 1st. After the historic Japan adopted the history of the confiscating and the approach of liberal practices, and the Allied occupation ended with the Treaty of San Francisco and the attempted the membership of the United States, propelled Japan to become the world's largest economy. This ended in 1990 with the last decade. Japan suffered dedicated to them. Japan compromised over restricted habitation zones, mainly in the coastal areas, have high concentration densities. Japan is the largest densely populated country, without the concentration. The highest population density, while the lowest population density. This kind of like accidentally the country best part like Japan is substantially because the location more in the Pacific Ring of Fire. 79 natural disaster risk in the measure of the index. Japan active volcanoes. Destructive earthquakes often resulting in tsunami occur over the name injured earthquake on a sheet in 2011 triggered a large tsunami. The climate of Japan is predominantly temperate. It varies greatly from north to south. The northernmost region of Kyoto has a humid continental climate with long cold winters, very warm and too cool summers. Precipitation on the island of the snowbanks in the Japan region at the south and the coast and the north and snowfall. During the winter and the summer, the region sometimes experiences extremely hot temperatures because of the highest between summer and winter mountains, the and the Shutlorp, bringing seasonal winds beginning mid-weather around the Pacific coastlines. Human subtropical climates have experienced wider occasional sometimes the southwest seasonal wind. The Gut and the Islands have a static climate in the weather winters, and the Pacific and the very heavy, especially during the rainy season. The main rainy season begins in earlier May in Okinawa. The rain front generally moves toward temperatures have caused problems with the agricultural industry and elsewhere. The highest temperature ever measured in Japan was recorded on the biodiversity. Japan has 9 forests in the range from the subtropical to the forest and the temperature broadly mixed in the mixed forecast in the mild and the temperate in the cold portions of the northern island. Japan has species of wildlife 90,000 in 2019, including the Japanese and the largest Japan salamander. Wildlife of Japan sites have been inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List for their outstanding natural value. Environment in the rapid growth of the they say the world will love it and I'm getting on with the privacy and the force of the oil crisis encouraged efficiency. When Japan lack of natural resources, Japan ranks 20th in the 20th environment performance measures the country's stability. Japan was the 5th largest emitter of carbon dioxide. Host of the protocol, Japan is under treaty obligation to reduce its carbon dioxide emissions when the 2020 the government announced carbon neutrality, but the environmental issues include the nature of the toxic and the waste on the nature compound, climate change, chemical management, and international co-op for conservation. Like a straight the national diet consists of the House of Representatives with word elected the popular vote 4 years to discuss the House of Councilor seats, which are primarily elected one member. There is a universal substitute of adults over 18, a secret ballot for all those elected office, the Prime Minister and the power to dismiss the and the appointing governor and assigned among the members of the type Japan Prime Minister and the leadership election. The broadly conservative has been dominant party in the country since the 1950s, often called 1955 system, historically influenced by Chinese law. The Japanese legal system developed independently during the Edo period through texts such as in the late 19th century. The judicial system, largely based on the notably Germany in the 1890s, based on the German but remained in effect with post-World War II Japan. Japan Constitution statutory law. The Japanese six codes. Japan's court system divided into 14. Contemporary Japanese culture combining Asian Europe, North America, traditional Japanese craft ceremonies, textiles, lacquerware, sword, dolls, performances of the Another practices tea ceremony, martial arts, calligraphy, origami, onsen, geisha games. Japan has developed this protection and promoted the culture. 22 heritage. 19 the significance in Japan. Significance the power. Main article Japanese architecture. The history of Japanese Japanese imported ideas. The interaction between Japanese and Europe art which began in the 19th century in the movement of Japanism. Significant influence developed on the most notably into post-impressionism. Japan architecture is a combination of local and other influences, traditionally been typified by wooden or mud plaster structures elevated slightly off the ground. Sliding doors to break down the room's indoor outdoor space. Japan was incorporated Western modern architecture. It was not until after World War II that the Japanese architects made the national the first If you're still here, I just wanted to say thank you. This type of video is usually pretty short because it is 2 a.m. and I'm very tired, and I often make myself more tired when I do ASMR. Also, this inaudible whisper mouth sound style takes a lot of breath, so you'll probably see a lot of cuts in these kind of videos because I need to stop and fully catch my breath. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it lived up to the request. I'm not sure I could capture the original essence in the first video, from the first video that I did, but I tried. Maybe I'll have to try again. I did not get even close to reading this full wiki page. I'm down to infrastructure. That's about it. Then I skipped forward and went to culture because I was curious. And even within culture, there's 10 different subcategories, so it's a pretty long one. If you enjoyed it, let me know, and just leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.